Xochitl Mora with the City of McAllen, and I'm so glad for you to join us this afternoon as we talk about a new project for parents and kids during this COVID-19 pandemic. Joining me this afternoon is Jolie Bettis, who is the Director of Employee Benefits for the City of McAllen. And during all this time, Jolie, even before that, your role here with the City of McAllen is to always offer employees tips, advice regarding our health and wellness, and you certainly manage all of those aspects of the services provided for its City of McAllen employees. So thank you for that. But during this COVID-19 pandemic, you've been going beyond that and providing information to the employees here, how we as adults, as parents, can deal with this situation with our children. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is a historic event for all of us. We're all in this together, and so many of us have children, and as adults we're trying to learn how to take in everything that we're hearing and experiencing, and the little ones are hearing it from their parents, they're hearing it from their friends, if they're talking on the phone, if they were hearing it from their teachers at school in the beginning when school was still in session, their older siblings, the younger siblings, whatever it is. And there's so much that they're taking in, and they may or may not know how to communicate what's going on. And that could be a fear that they have, it could be a range of emotions that they're dealing with. And this is something that they can see it in us, and they're trying to figure out how to experience it. So we knew very early on that anything that we could get our hands on to share with the city employees and anybody that they had contact with, whether it be their family or friends, it would help be able to make this just a little bit more tolerable for everybody if we could share in ways that would help us to alleviate the pressure, the burden, the stress, and to be able to communicate what was going on in our emotions and everything that we were dealing with internally and bring that externally. So that's why we were very quick to communicate things that we saw from the World Health Organization or any other little organizations out there that were very quick to jump on a means of communication of any kind of method that would do that.
Well, it is certainly important. Obviously, even as adults, we are trying to understand the whole situation aside from just the virus itself, but even, of course, with all of the different orders that are coming from different government entities and all the messaging. And so even for adults, it's confusing. So a lot of that advice, while certainly important for kids, I mean, it helps adults as well. And so that was what was really important, because we're all trying to navigate this very, very unknown situation that we find ourselves in. Of course, as parents, that is our role, that we are that rock, that foundation for our kids. And so as you were sharing all this information, which as a mother I found very useful and helpful, so thank you. You sent one project that I thought, this one seems a little different, that we need to really do something special with that. And that was when you sent creating a time capsule for the COVID-19 period that we find ourselves in. So why don't you tell us about this project, how you came about it, and a little bit more about this, what it is all about.
Yes, we live in such a social age, and whether you have Facebook, Twitter, or whatever means of social media, there's so many great things being shared, and so many organizations that are doing wonderful things, that are sharing things that would normally have a fee associated, and they're doing it for free. And there was an organization called Long Creations that came up with this time capsule idea, and we saw it online and we thought, what a awesome opportunity to take this situation and really help engage the children in a means that would actively engage them in some dialogue that could help the parents interact and talk about what they were dealing with. And so the whole document's about 11 pages, and it's called My 2020 COVID-19 Time Capsule. And there's a series of pages that allow the parents and the children to interact. There's some pages that are geared specifically to the children to fill out. There's some pages that are geared to the actual adult to fill out. But one of my favorite pages in there is a How Am I Feeling page. And this allows the child to to really say, how are you feeling? And it gives you some emojis to choose from, and they can draw their face on there. And then to ask them, now my children range in a couple different ages. My youngest, I helped fill out the wording for him, but I asked him, I sat there and I asked him, what would you describe how you're feeling? And he said, sad for those that are sick, and that got us talking about what he knew about the virus and what he knew about those who were coming down with the virus, what he had heard from the TV that I had on, what he had heard from me talking on the phone. There were other questions here, like what he had learned most from the experience. That starts us asking questions like he had learned about how important it was to wash his hands thoroughly, how important it was during this time to social distance and try to keep a protection from those around us. And, depending on when you filled this out, things have changed. Every day, those rules about, how to interact with people have changed. And so you almost could fill this out at various times within this whole season of the situation, see how it changes. There were other things that you could log, such as this one that just kind of talks about where he was as a child at this point. It's basic age information, how old he was, how tall he was, what his likes and dislikes were. But some unique features also include the ability to write himself a letter. This is something that will go in the time capsule that years from now, I told him, you're gonna look back and wanna know what you could tell yourself 10 years from now. What did you wanna know you were going through right now? What you were feeling right now? And there's a lot of different things that this time capsule allows the child to go through. One of my favorite things that this time capsule put in there, a letter from the parents. My children are young. They don't know everything I'm dealing with. They don't know the concerns of, are we gonna run out of toilet paper? They don't know if I'm concerned about who's coming in contact with us, if we're going to have enough food, we know that there's not a shortage, but because of things that have happened, we know that sometimes it's been hard to get certain things that we've wanted. They don't know all that yet. We've kind of kept that from our kids because we've had the stuff we've needed. But I may want them to know what that experience was like, and I was able to put that in a letter. I was able to tell them about my concerns, my worries, and voice that there so that 10 years from now, they'll know, but they didn't have to feel it right now.
Right.
So it's a unique way for me to communicate to them so that they'll know what their mom and dad went through, but they don't have to have the pressure of it right now.
Sure. I think this is such a great project. I think what impressed me about it is that sometimes we as adults don't have the words, or we don't know how to bring it down to a level for the different ages, especially younger ages. And so this certainly gives us as parents the tools to be able to start those dialogues, have those conversations, and have them work through it in a safe space, which obviously we always know that art is a very creative and helpful outlet for feelings, emotions, thoughts, and whatever scenario that may be. But even as adults, again, I think that's what, we always revert back to our youth and those comforting thoughts of Sesame Street and those characters from long ago, and coloring and any type of projects that, especially when we can do them with our kids, it's a stress reliever. It's certainly fun and easy time to do that. And and if we can, explore this, because this is something we have never experienced ourselves as adults. And hopefully it will be a short-lived time frame, and in a few months, and then certainly in a few years when we go back and open up these time capsules and review them, we can think back to this time and understand and remember what we were doing then. But certainly I think this is such an important tool that we can utilize. Thank you for sharing it for, City of McAllen employees, but we want to make it available to all of the community. So we're going to put that link of this project on our City of McAllen website at mcallen.net, so anyone can download it and do this project at home with their kids of any age, or just for themselves if they need to. Anything else, Jolie, that you'd like to add about this time capsule?
Just be as creative as possible. There's pages to be able to put favorite quotes or pictures. I took a picture of my children in their masks just because this is something that's part of our story. It asks you to draw your house, and there are some pages that you kind of want to hold on to towards the end of whatever we're going through right now. This page, the interview your parents, there's some questions on here you can't answer just yet. You don't know what the top 3 moments of this whole experience are going to be just yet. So there's going to be some pages you got to hold on to, and don't forget you're creating this. Do everything that you can right now, but then come back and finish it. Don't leave it unfinished. Finish the time capsule so that you can have a complete set, and then hold on to it, and then don't forget about it and open it up 10 years from now so that you can remember what you came through, and that your children will be able to see how we come through these trials.
Well, thank you again, Jolie, for sharing it with City of McAllen employees, and we're so glad to be able to share it with our community. Certainly, we want everyone to continue to remember the orders that are in place for Hidalgo County, for the City of McAllen, and to turn to the City of McAllen for all updated information, certainly at our website, McAllen.net. They can always call McAllen 311 for any questions or information they may need, and of course to follow us on social media, and to continue to watch this channel, MCN 1300 on Spectrum Cable, for the latest information regarding the City of McAllen's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. For the City of McAllen, I'm Xochitl Mora.
Our team. Stories that count from people who care.